I'm out here in a pickup truck again, by an abandoned orange grove on a nice Florida winter day to talk about the Crosley Green case. This is the Chip Flynn murder. I really can't stand the female hysteria of people saying, oh, Crosley Green was framed. And they're saying this based on nothing. And the race agitating about the whole thing. Oh, he was just framed because he was a black guy, based on nothing. The primary source for this conspiracy theory is a cop who is a known liar, Mark Rixie. Now, specifically, Mark Rixie went on TV with Aaron Moriarty of CBS and said, oh, it was a racial hoax. Mark Rixie lied about a person he never met, Kim Hallock, and he called her a racial hoaxer and a murderer. The original reason for this gossip is two things. One, Kim Hallock is a private person. She's talking about herself. She knows what a bunch of aggressive assholes people are. And so she left some secondary details out of her story because she's a private person who didn't want other people knowing her business that wasn't really central to what happened that night. And the number two reason for this crazy conspiracy theory and this gossip is that the mob, for whatever reason, the mob loves to go after young girls like rats to cheese. And that's what you guys are. Rats to cheese, going after this girl, Kim Hallock, based on nothing. Now, why do I call Mark Rixie a known liar? Well, according to documents filed by the state in the Crosley Green case, Mark Rixie changed his story 20 years later. According to his original police report and deposition, and this is again according to documents filed by the state, Mark Rixie never met or spoke to Kim Hallock in his life. Mark Rixie never investigated this case other than finding Chip Flynn shot on the ground when he was the first responder to go out there. Now, again, that's according to the documents filed by the state involving Crosley Green's appeal. Do I have Mark Rixie's initial sworn police report? Do I have his sworn deposition? Do I have a sworn trial testimony? No, I don't have that. And that's not because I don't want it. It's because not one of the thousands of people who think Crosley Green is innocent, not one of the people who swallow anything this huckster cop tells you to stir up and incite a mob against a young girl, not one of you Crosley Green is innocent people has posted any of these things on the web. Not Rixie's police report, not his sworn deposition, not his trial testimony. And for all the investigating and then telling the world what you believe about Crosley Green case, for all your, looking into it, not one of you actually wants me to see what Mark Rixie actually swore to back at the time it happened, 30 some years ago. You don't want me to know. Why don't you put that up on a website, his original sworn statements? Now, the story that Mark Rixie told that Chip Flynn was perfectly lucid and refused to say who shot him is not credible. If Chip Flynn were perfectly lucid, he would have not still been face down in the exact position Kim Hallock last saw him, supposedly more than an hour earlier when Kim left him there. Chip would have at least rolled over onto his back, given that hour or whatever it was. If Chip Flynn were still lucid 55 minutes after being shot in the chest, and 5 minutes before dying. In other words, all this time has passed and he's still perfectly lucid, and yet he's only 5 minutes from death. Then way back when it first happened, before he'd bled, before he'd had internal bleeding, he would have been able to stand up and walk out of there in the first 5 minutes after being shot. Or at the very least, 55 minutes before he died, he would have at least been able to roll over onto his back, right? I mean, he's still lying on his stomach. 55 minutes ago when he was just shot, this guy can't even roll over onto his back. But 55 minutes later, when he's about to die, he's perfectly lucid? Now, the best explanation I have for what Deputy Rixie claims Chip supposedly said is that maybe Chip Flynn was in a dream of trying to go home. Maybe he just was delirious. Or maybe Deputy Mark Rixie invented the story, like cops often do, to try to trick Kim Hallock to admitting to some crime. In other words, like, oh, Chip's over there talking to us and he just wants to go home. So why don't you tell us what happened here? Uh, or maybe Mark Rixie is just an idiot. He's an imperfect human who will say anything for whatever reasons. Or one of my theories is that Kim Hallock was in fact raped, and that's what I actually believe happened based on my analysis of the events described in her deposition and the timing and, the geometry of the pickup. All that, I went through all that, and based on my analysis of these events, she was in fact raped and hid it. And maybe Chip didn't want to talk about Kim being raped, and he just wanted to, keep it all private and just go home. Rather than Kim Hallock's story falling apart, as some have said, people say, oh, well, her story completely fell apart. No, her story, Kim Hallock's story, has a huge number of details, and they hold together perfectly. Kim Hallock's story is it's the Burj Khalifa, okay? Her deposition is 140 pages long, and it all ties together. I have 2 videos I made, which you can, find on my page, with 2 hours examination of all the details in Kim's story, all the details in her 140-page deposition. And I spent those 2 hours in and around a pickup truck with a Nerf gun next to an abandoned orange grove. And I showed anyone who is open to the truth that Kim Hallock's story is a very detailed and sound structure. It does not fall apart. It holds together far more than a person like Kim Hallock would be able to put together a lie that elaborate. After the black guy almost shot Chip when he's trying to grip a shoelace while holding a pistol, Kim agreed to tie that shoelace herself. She didn't like Chip almost accidentally getting shot, and she wasn't proud of that, so she didn't want to say it. Is that really so hard for people to understand that Kim, after what happened, didn't want to say that? Is it so hard to understand that Kim was at the baseball park to buy weed, and that a person who works at the courthouse and her family is school teachers and youth sports coaches, and her boyfriend's uncle is a cop? She gonna leave out part of the story about going to that baseball park to buy weed? All the different random hokey details in Kim's story tie together, as I show in my 2 hours of analysis on video for any of you to look at and disagree with. Not only would a liar not add so many random things with no explanation for why a liar would make up all these crazy details in just like an alibi story. Why would she? Not only would a liar not make up such a long hokey story for no reason without even explaining it, Kim Hallock is not such a talented liar that even if she wanted to, she could not invent so many random hokey things and yet have them all fit together perfectly like puzzle pieces, which is what I showed in my video that her story in fact does. Now, this prosecutor White, he's just like you. He hid documents from the defense because he believed that he knew who did it. Prosecutor White didn't want the jury to decide. He didn't want the defense to present all the facts to the jury for them to decide. Just like not one of you wants to post all the evidence, the DNA test, the police reports, the depositions, all on the web in one neat place. You don't want to show all the documents any more than Prosecutor White wanted to. You all just form an opinion and then go after someone like Savages, a person you never met. And what you do is totally contrary to the spirit and ideals of our independent jury system. And because of people like you going after Kim Hallock is why we have juries with no TV cameras rather than TV shows to decide guilt and innocence. So I know you don't want me to look at all the evidence myself and decide. You don't want to put Mark Rixie's original sworn deposition up there on the web for me to look at. You want to incite me and other people on the web against this girl and use me as a tool to fulfill your own animal impulses, essentially, against this stranger. Because that's just human nature. Oh my God, get that girl. Uh, you and Prosecutor White and Deputy Rixie and Aaron Moriarty and Tim Curtis are all dishonest dirtbags who are totally vain and incontinent in your impulses against this girl, Kim Hallock. If any of you wants to start being a serious person about this Crosley Green case, then do what I did for the Mandy Mae Jackson case at SeminoleScam.com. I put up all the evidence in the Mandy Mae Jackson case in one place, and I will gladly provide anything I have that I didn't put up there on that webpage. And that's another case where a lying cop and some slimeball news people incited a mob against the innocent girl, in that case, Mandy Mae Jackson. And I would point out to you that none of those people actually want the truth to get out. Everything in Mandy Mae Jackson's case or her trial was all lies, and I've documented that. Witness after witness lied, and I've documented that beyond any shadow of a doubt on SeminoleScam.com. So, the mob, the people on the news, are not just not better than Prosecutor White. They're 1,000 times worse with your lies and your gossip going after a stranger you never met. Doing to Kim Hallock what you project on her. You're saying, oh, she did this to Crosley Green, but you're just, projecting your own nature, going after her onto a person you've never met. That's you. You're the one inciting a mob based on gossip, not Kim Hallock. Now, Erin Moriarty confronts murderers. That's what I saw when I Googled her. It says, Erin Moriarty, or it says, I confront murderers. Erin Moriarty, 48 hours, I confront murderers. If you believe Erin Moriarty, she cozies up to known liars like Tim Curtis and elevates them on TV. This is the same Tim Curtis who originally said he knew Crosley Green did it. And then he said he was lying. This guy, Tim Curtis, will recite any gossip for attention. And according to Erin Moriarty, Crosley Green's sister lied to give her own brother the death penalty. Crosley Green's sister lied to take her own brother's life. Insane. And that's a killer. Crosley Green's sister almost succeeded in killing her own brother. But I don't see Erin Moriarty advocating that people who lie in court to take the lives of innocents should go to prison. Where's Erin Moriarty saying, oh, Crosley Green's sister should be in prison for lying on the stand. You should be in prison, you murderer. She's not confronting murderers. According to Erin Moriarty, Mark Rixie went along with a racial hoax to take the life of an innocent man. But I don't see Erin Moriarty advocating that lying cops or prosecutors who withhold evidence to take the lives of innocents should go to prison. No, according to Erin Moriarty, she cozies up to people who conspired to take the life of an innocent black man. And instead, Erin says this stoned teenage girl with a southern accent, this stoned teenage girl, this drug user, this slut with a southern accent, Kim Hallock, who just tried to hide that she was having sex and protect her privacy, well, she's the root of all evil in the world. I know, you want to be a serious person, then you put up all your evidence on a website like I did for the Mandy Mae Jackson case, like I did at SeminoleScam.com, and then we can argue about the facts of this Crosley Green case. If you want to be serious, the prosecutors in Florida's 18th Judicial Circuit are deeply flawed. I know that. I've seen it. And even so, even as flawed as they are, the case they made against Crosley Green at trial was 1,000 times more detailed, 1,000 times more structured and more honest than some liars reciting a few minutes, a few snippets of gossip on a TV show just to sell advertising and play a bunch of people like you for suckers. What was presented at the Crosley Green trial may all be gossip and lies, and we can talk about that. But you don't boil truth from gossip. That's not your game, I know. That's not what you do. Your game is to build gossip and lies on truth and to replace facts with gossip for sport or for fame or for clicks or just for attention or just because that's how you fucking feel. Or, just because you love to indulge your own emotion, like the worst caricature of irrational females. You say, Kim Hallock was the jealous, conniving female. She's the emotional one. She's the one who incited a mob against this stranger, this innocent black guy, because he was black. But it's actually you. You're the one indulging your emotions and your impulses and your instincts to destroy another female. Kim Hallock. That's your instinct, is to destroy another female. You crazy hysterical bitches inventing crazy stories about a stranger and listening to people who contradict themselves every time they speak. Who's the conspiracy theorist here? Is it Kim Hallock who spoke for 140 pages, or Mark Rixie who fucking changed the story, went on TV, lied about a total stranger? Not Kim Hallock protecting her privacy. You're the conspiracy theorist inciting a mob against an innocent person based on gossip, based on your own irrational female impulses. I mean, look in the fucking mirror, you sick fucking nasty people.